Okay, think about it. Our phones are practically glued to our hands, right? We're constantly scrolling, swiping, and taking in a flood of new information. But what if the way some of these apps are designed is actually, well, making us more forgetful? Today, we're going to dig into some really mind-blowing research that asks that exact question.
You know the feeling. You walk into the kitchen with a mission, and then, poof, nothing. It's totally blank. We all just kind of laugh it off as a brain glitch. But what if it's not just a random glitch? What if that feeling is being supercharged by the apps we use every single day?
All right, so to really get what's going on here, we need to talk about a very specific kind of memory. It's one that's, frankly, essential for just getting through the day.
It's called prospective memory. And it's not about remembering stuff from the past, like your high school graduation. Nope, this is all about remembering to do something in the future.
The easiest way to think about it, it's your brain's own built-in to-do list. It's the little mental post-it note that reminds you, hey, pick up milk on the way home, or don't forget that 2 p.m. meeting. It is absolutely fundamental. So this brings us to the big question a team of researchers at LMU Munich decided to tackle. They looked at these super fast-paced, constantly changing social media feeds and wondered, what is this actually doing to our ability to hold on to our own plans? So how in the world do you test something like that? Well, you have to get clever. You have to design an experiment that can actually isolate what these different digital distractions are doing to our brains. The basic setup was pretty straightforward. First, everyone took a memory test. Then they got a 10-minute break to do one of 4 different things. And finally, they took this same test again to see what, if anything, had changed. The real magic, though, was in the test itself. So check this out. This is so smart. The participants had one main job. Look at a string of letters and decide if it's a real German word. Simple enough. But they also had a second hidden memory task. They were told, hey, if you happen to see one of these 3 specific color words, like blau for blue, don't do the normal thing. Instead, press this special key. This setup is brilliant because it's just like real life, right? You're doing one thing, but you have to keep another intention tucked away in the back of your mind. Now that 10-minute break, that's where the experiment really gets interesting. They split everyone into 4 groups. You had the rest group, or control, just chilling with no screens. Then you had a Twitter group, scrolling through a feed that's mostly text and has lots of quick context changes. The YouTube group watched a single 10-minute video, so no context switching at all. And then you had the TikTok group, scrolling their personal feed, which is just a fire hose of short videos and super fast context switching.
Okay, so the stage is set. We've got this really precise memory test and 4 totally different kinds of breaks. The big question is, which one of these interruptions would make that mental to-do list just disappear? So after the break, everyone came back and took the test again. The researchers were zeroed in on one thing. How often did people remember to hit that special key when a color word popped up? And the results were just, wow, they were dramatic.
This chart right here tells the whole story. The group that just rested, their performance was fine. The Twitter group, totally stable. The YouTube group who watched one long video, no real change. But then look at the TikTok group. Their accuracy just fell off a cliff.
How far did it fall? All the way down to 49%. Let that sink in. 49% is basically a coin toss. It's random chance. It's as if their brain just decided to guess whether to press the key or not. The intention they had formed just 10 minutes earlier was almost completely gone.
And this is the really crucial part. This wasn't just a social media is bad for you result. It wasn't about watching videos. It wasn't even just about switching context. The researchers believe it's that very specific cocktail of short-form videos combined with rapid-fire context switching that delivers this massive hit to our prospective memory.
Okay, so when you see a result that staggering, it just begs a deeper question. It's one thing to know that memory failed, but the researchers wanted to know why. What was actually happening inside the decision-making process that caused it to completely break down?
To figure this out, they brought in a really powerful computational tool called a drift diffusion model. Think of it as a way to look under the hood of the brain, past just right or wrong answers, to see the hidden machinery of how a decision gets made. And what they found was absolutely wild. Before the TikTok break, people's brains were confidently and efficiently making the right call. But after just 10 minutes of scrolling, that whole process became uncertain, wishy-washy, and essentially random. And to see how, we have to look at this one specific measurement. It's called the drift rate. So imagine your brain is weighing the evidence between 2 choices.
press the key or don't press the key. A high drift rate means you're quickly and confidently moving towards the correct answer. It's basically a measure of how good your brain is at processing the evidence.
And here it is. This is the bombshell. For the TikTok group, when it came to that memory task, the drift rate dropped to 0. 0. That means their brains were not pushing towards the right answer at all. Evidence for the correct and incorrect choices was coming in at the same rate. The decision process became a total toss-up, which perfectly explains that 49% coin flip accuracy we saw earlier.
So this is way more than just a weird finding in a lab. It has some really profound implications for how we think about the tech we use every single day, and maybe how we should design it in the future.
The researchers here do not pull any punches. They actually argue that if a social media feed's design is known to harm a user's thinking abilities, it could be classified as a dark pattern. And that's a pretty heavy term for a user interface that's basically designed to trick or harm you.
But here's where it gets really complicated, because this knowledge is a classic double-edged sword. On the one hand, sure, we could use this to design apps that are less harmful to our memory. But you could also harness this forgetting effect. Think about a video game that uses it to intentionally make a level harder. Or, and this is wild, could it be used in therapy to help someone forget a painful memory? Or even to help you clear your mind of one task so you can better focus on the next?
And that leaves us with this final, pretty provocative question. We now have evidence that certain digital designs can make it harder for us to follow through on our own plans. So if we have the power to build technology that can intentionally make us forget, should we?